All right, so this is my 1995 Ford Econoline. Whenever I am accelerating on the highway or I'm at highway speeds, I don't get any air coming out of these vents. And so I've done some research on YouTube, and I haven't found a video that deals specifically with this year model, because they're a little bit different on the early 2000 models. So I'll kind of walk through what I did. I just took out the center console here to expose the engine. Alright, so here's a schematic of what you're kind of looking at. So here's the engine. You got these tubes that come off of the engine, run up underneath the hood and into basically the engine compartment when you lift up the hood. So this is under the hood on the passenger side. You have this little connector, and you have a bunch of different connections and things, but the only one you worry about is this black one that comes off and moves over to the passenger side. Then it dives down to where you can't see it. It goes down and then connects to this check valve, where again you can't see, that then also connects to the vacuum reservoir, which we believe one of these two things is broken. And then it pops out right underneath, kind of by the feet of where the passenger would sit. It pops out for a second and then it dives back in, and this goes to the AC components within the dash, like right above the radio and the controls for the air and things like that. And then that then goes and gives you airflow through the vents. So what we're doing is we are basically bypassing this whole section that we can't get to, and putting a new vacuum reservoir and a new check valve in its place. And then here I just say, area you cannot see above the passenger wheel well. This is what you will bypass. So this area here is what we're bypassing because we can't get to it. Alright, so this is a top view, like you're in the sky looking straight down. Here's the front of where the headlights would be. Here's the steering wheel, driver's seat, passenger seat. These squares are the tires. So this is just kind of a schematic of where everything is. So start here with the engine. You take off that covering and you have the engine that's right in between both passenger and driver's seat. And then that tubing is going to come up, go up under the dash. There's a connector. The connector then goes over towards the passenger side, dives down deep where we can't see it, and then kind of somewhere above this passenger side wheel well is where you have the check valve and then the vacuum reservoir. So check valve 3, vacuum reservoir 4. Then it comes down, and this is where you see it come out right by the passenger side feet, and then it goes back up, and it goes up under. There's actually a little place where you can take off a little plastic section on the dash. You can see these components. This is where all the AC components are, and then those AC components then, I'm not sure exactly what they do, but they basically go, and then you get airflow out of your vents here. So that's kind of just so you can kind of get an idea of where everything is. Alright, so off of the engine you have these vacuum lines that come off, they come down, they go whoop, up here, and they run up, and you can see them over here. Let me show you. So here's that line coming off of the engine, come off right here on the passenger side. This is where it's different from a lot of the other models that I saw being worked on YouTube, is it comes off, it gives you kind of this big connector thing, and then this is the line that you're worried about. So this again comes off the engine, comes down here, goes to this connector, and then this dives down beneath and goes right, basically right above the passenger wheel well, and then it goes, and then above the passenger wheel well is where the vacuum reservoir and the check valve is. And then after it comes off the check valve and vacuum reservoir, it comes through, let's see if you can see it, it comes through here, just basically this wire, or this tube basically comes through here. So it's exposed by the passenger side feet, where the passenger side feet would be, and then it comes up and it runs back up under the dash. And then if you pop this off, you can see all the AC components. I should do that for you, but anyways, and then that goes to the AC components, and then it allows air to come out. So all that we're doing is we're basically going to cut this black wire here, and we're going to disconnect the wire up there, And so we're basically just bypassing the whole the pump or the vacuum reservoir, excuse me, and the check valve. And so for me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this black line here. So I'm bypassing that. So I'm gonna cut this line, and then I'm gonna run that fuel line tubing from here up along the engine into the up under the hood there. So cut this distal part here is useless, so we don't need it anymore, but I'm connecting this part that's going up to the AC component to the fuel line that's going to wrap up under here. It's going to go follow this same tubing. It's going to come up. I'm going to disconnect this. Now this part's dead, doesn't matter. This is the disconnected part. Don't care about that. And then I'm going to connect that check valve right into here. And then that check valve has two stems on it. One stem goes to the vacuum reservoir, which is going to sit right down in here, and the other stem goes to the vacuum line that I wove through where the engine is. So vacuum line is going to come attach into there. So then basically the way it'll work is vacuum line comes off of the engine, runs up here, goes to the check valve. Check valve goes to the vacuum reservoir, which is going to be sitting right down in here in this space. And then that tubing also connects back down along kind of the same route as the tubing when it came up. That goes down right by the engine. That'll come out right where the engine is, and that will connect to this black tubing here that will go up to the AC components, and then hopefully we'll get some air movement. So what I do is I just disconnect this here. This is coming off of the engine, this black. This is trash now. And I'll connect the check valve like this, black end to black. Alright, so now that's connected, and then I'm going to connect my line that's coming from the other area down there. So I just took the connector that had been connecting these two guys together, and I just fits perfectly on the new vacuum reservoir. Alright, so here it is. I got it all connected. I'm about to test it out. But so, here's the vacuum line coming off of the engine. I just attached the check valve to this hose, goes down to my new vacuum pump that I just installed there with a bolt. There's just a perfect spot to install it. And then this other hose wraps down and dives back down through the same path that vacuum line coming off the engine comes from. And I use this little protectant I got at Harbor Freight. And then I'll show you over here. So then this comes, here's the second, here it comes down through here, and then I'm gonna I just attached it to that black existing line with a connector that I got at AutoZone to that tube. And so I'll put it up here kind of nice out of the way, but so that's pretty much that. We'll test it out. Alright, so here's the finished product. I put the center console back on, and I just drilled a hole to run. This is that orange tubing, but I covered it with that you can kind of see the orange in there. I covered it with that protective stuff, and so it just runs up underneath here, and I just zip tied to kind of tuck it away down like this, and then I use that connector to connect it to the tube that goes up to the AC components up here. And so I just tested it, and it does work.